Marlins looked dead in the water against the Fish last night, but a comeback proved worth the wait. Another pinch hit homer from rookie Zach Walters, and a flawless bullpen performance capped a series win in Miami. Tonight they look to deal against the Cards and take down the visitors' ace. Lots of folks coming into Nationals Park. It's a cool night. Going to be cool for a couple of nights. Great weekend coming up. And a team the Nats have had a hard time with in town. You hit a 3-run homer to tie a game. Everybody wants to be you. That you is Jason Worth. Bob and FP, a lot of people want to be him too. Good luck with that. It's a big series for the Nats. Great win last night. You got to get something going against the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the Braves. 7 in a row to these guys.
Well, how do you get something going against these guys? You score early, and for Matt Williams' team so far this year, that's been a problem. They've come from behind a few times, but if you look in the first and second innings this year, the Nats have scored just 12 runs. Their opponent's 33, so we're reading up to down right here. And if you look at innings 3+, the Nats have scored 65. The opponent's just 33 runs. You look at the differential. They've trailed in 11 of 15 games this year, but, Carp, look, a 5-6 record. So, you know, that could be a lot worse. They've come from behind well, but they need to come from ahead one time and get out there and score some runs early.
Yeah, that 11-game thing, that's usually like a 2-9 or a 3-8 sort of thing. 5-6, not bad at all. Wainwright, 101 career wins. Jordan, 1 career win. And you got some future guy for the Nats going against somebody who's been doing it for a long time for a championship ball club.
Well, I looked this up today. Adam Wainwright this year has thrown 306 pitches total, 201 strikes, just 65 balls. So he's a guy that's around the strike zone. He's not going to walk you. So a lot like Jose Fernandez last night. If you're a Nats hitter, hack. And Taylor Jordan looking to rebound from a rough start against the Braves. And, you know, he's got to turn this thing around as well. So you're looking for a quality start from Taylor tonight.
When Bryce comes up, we'll tell you about good career numbers against Adam Wainwright. Against everybody right now. He's on an 8-game hitting streak, hitting .483 during that time. Lots of extra base hits, getting on base. Coming up, the Cards and the Nats. And Bryce, as usual, back in the lineup tonight, should be right in the middle of things. Baseball on Masson. Brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by University of Maryland, University College. Cool night at the ballpark. It's in the low 50s right now. It'll be chilly by the time one team walks off a winner tonight. Visit trainsearch.com to find your local train comfort specialist dealer. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. Nats hoping to stop the Cardinals tonight. That's been pretty hard, too. Matt Holliday since 05 against the Nats. And this goes back to his days with Colorado. Always hitting well. A lot of extra base hits, lots of RBIs. He's off to a .250 start with just one home run so far. Cardinals an uncharacteristic. .244, 11th in the league, and they're 10th in runs. They're only hitting .216 on the road so far. Taylor Jordan, though, knows he's facing a good hitting ball club.
You see the arsenal right there for Taylor Jordan. The fastball averaging 90 miles an hour this year. He'll sink it. He'll throw it straight with a four-seam, and the slider is his breaking ball, and he throws that changeup 20% of the time at 81 miles an hour. Last time out against the Atlanta Braves, he was up with his sinker at times, up with his slider at times. Look at Taylor to make the adjustment tonight and get the ball down. Suffered the 6-3 loss, gave up 5 runs on 10 hits, walked 5 Braves, or struck out 5 Braves, excuse me, and walked 2, threw 102 pitches.
First career start against the St. Louis Cardinals, who have their third baseman, Matt Carpenter, leading off this year. He has an on-base percentage of .400, hitting .275. And we are underway at 7:06 with 89 right down the middle. St. Louis, like Washington, 9-6. Records are identical, 4-2 at home for both, 5-4 on the road for both. St. Louis coming from just winning 2 out of 3 at Milwaukee, and the Nats 2 out of 3 at Miami, a little bit outside. Veteran Bill Miller, crew chief, has the plate. Vic Carapazza, Adam Hamari, Greg Gibson, first, second, and third. Braves have lost today. Phillies beat them behind good work by their bullpen late in a 1-0 verdict at Citizens Bank Park. So right now the Nats a game out.
I wonder how many games in baseball tonight have 2 third basemen as their leadoff hitters like this game does.
That thought crossed my mind as we filled in the lineups this afternoon. Carpenter coming off his storybook year when he hit .318 last year. 78 RBIs. Scored 126 runs. Led the league. 199 hits. Led the league. Mike Matheny's ball club made it to the World Series. The Red Sox took care of them. 2-2 pitch. Guided up the middle. Desmond drops the ball. That'll be his 6th error of the year.
And the 17th error this year for the Nats as a ball club, and that leads all of baseball. Ian Desmond, first try. Kind of a little check swing by Carpenter. Got the in-between hop. Looked like he might have been peeking up, and the ball just didn't stick in his glove. And that's the way this one starts.
Seems like we've seen a lot of peeking from infielders and outfielders lately. Those are just routine plays, got to be made. And here's Colton Wong, the rookie, takes a strike. Wong, 240. They have Mark Ellis as insurance to play behind him. Veteran guy who's been around for a long, long time. Just came off the DL this week. And that put Pete Kozma back in the minor leagues. 0-1 pitch and a good one by Jordan under his bat, 81. Unfortunately, Colton Wong, best known around baseball right now, is the guy who got picked off to end one of the games in St. Louis in the World Series last year with the tying run in the batter's box. 0-2 pitch. And a little tapper. Jordan over toward the line, can use the glove, can't get it out, safe. And the Nats are not playing good defense.
Well, you just can't give good teams extra outs. And Mike Matheny's squad definitely take advantage of this. When you're playing upper echelon teams, or even at the major league level, you start giving teams 28, 29, 30 outs in a ball game. they're going to take advantage. You see Jordan right there, can't get it out of his glove. Ian Desmond couldn't get it in his glove, and just like that, first and second, nobody out. And now Matt Holliday steps in.
Yeah, the inning gets harder in a hurry. Holliday at 250, a homer, 7 RBIs, as we noted in our lineups, and that's foul outside third.
Set the defense for the Nats tonight. And behind Taylor Jordan, Harper, McLeod Worth, the outfield, Desmond Rendon, left side of the infield, Espinosa LaRoche, right side of the infield, and Jose Lobaton behind the dish.
Jason Worth in right field tonight. I don't know if the team can go into a defensive slump, but this thing needs to turn around in a hurry. Here's a pretty good breaking ball by Taylor, diving down and away from a big, strong right-handed batter. Lobaton's going to go out and talk to him.
Well, absolutely they can, Cart, because when you see guys making errors next to you, you start thinking, well, that didn't look good. I don't want to do that. And where does your mind go toward that error? And you start thinking about what you just saw. And it's, you know, it's negative feedback to the guy standing around you. So now you're thinking, well, we haven't been playing good defense, and he just made an error. Boy, I sure don't want to do that. And you can get into a defensive slump, absolutely, as a club. And you start thinking, I got to make this play. I got to make this play, because he didn't. And instead of just being an athlete and doing what you normally do and make the routine plays, it gets in your head.
And that's a fair ball into the left field corner. Defense is going to cost the Nats a run or two. And now Danny Espinosa just interfered with the runner going to third. Colton Wong made contact with Espinosa. Even had the Nats thrown him out, he would have been safe. Error, infield hit on a makeable play. And now an RBI double by Matt Holliday.
And the slider up from Jordan. That was the problem against the Braves. And Matt Holliday taking advantage. RBI double down the corner, 1-0 Cardinals. And maybe their best hitter so far, Matt Adams, steps in the box at 362.
Yeah, he's the reason Carlos Beltran's no longer a Cardinal. They wanted him to play first. That pushes Alan Craig to right field. And Adams came out of nowhere last year and drove in 51 runs and 296 at-bats with 17 homers. 25 years of age, out of Pennsylvania, a town called Phillipsburg. And he'll pull it to the right side to make it 2-0. Espinosa to LaRoche.
Well, we just showed the graphic in the open about the first couple of innings, how the Nats have scuffled and had to play from behind the majority of this year, and they're going to have to do it again here tonight. Productive out right there by Matt Adams, getting Matt Holliday to third base with 1 out and driving a run in. That's a good at-bat. High fives all over the Cardinals dugout.
And Yadier Molina coming up, a tough out, who doesn't strike out much. He's driven in 9 runs and hit 3 homers already. 12 homers all of last year. Pretty good fastball right on the inside corner.
Yadier Molina's so good in these situations. Thinks about going the other way, up the middle. Doesn't try to do too much.
3-0. Let's go to Dan Kolko for more on the Nats defense.
Guys, I asked manager Matt Williams prior to yesterday's game in Miami about the Nats defensive issues to begin the season. He said, somewhat similar to what FP was just saying, that it seems like the guys have been pressing a little bit defensively. So I asked him, how do you fix it? He said, one, you don't make a big deal of it, that it's largely been silly stuff that have been the issues. Guys just not picking the ball up, Ian there not being able to get the ball out of his glove. He said the Nats have been getting in extra work before games. They're paying attention to it. It's just a matter of going out there and making the plays, but they don't want to press even more. They don't want to put too much of an emphasis on this. Just go out there, relax, and play.
You know, some of the Cardinals guys asking me before the game, what's up, why so many errors, and they asked specifically about Desmond, and I said, well, it takes him a while to settle into a season. And I said, you know how I know that? That was me. It took me a month every single year to get into a groove, to get into a routine, to where the game slowed down, the weather got warmer, and you just started playing how you could play. You know, early on in the season, you have a tendency, or some players, I should say more correctly, have a tendency to do too much, to come out of the gate and get a big average and to make the great play. And all of a sudden, you get into that routine and you just become the player that you normally are. And from what I've seen with Ian over the last 3 years, that's been the case in April. He settles down and becomes one of the best shortstops in baseball after that.
Reaching for that one, the right fielder, Alan Craig. One of the best RBI guys in the league last year, 97, and he only played in 134 games. Didn't play in the division series after missing the last couple weeks of the season and the LCS with a sprain of his left foot. St. Louis facing Taylor Jordan for the first time, and the Nats have let the gate open here, and it's a 3-0 game already. That's low.
It's a 3-0 game with Adam Wade right on the mound. So serious work cut out for his offensive squad. And that last pitch, a changeup below the zone. No matter what pitch track said, Jose Lobaton took his glove to the ground, and you'll never get that call.
Good pitch. Down and in to the right-handed batter. 2 outs.
Well, that swing didn't look like it felt very good to Alan Craig. I mean, it looked like he grabbed something after the strikeout right there. Great pitch from Taylor Jordan. 2-seam fastball underneath the hands. We'll watch Craig swing again and again. See underneath his hands right here. Kind of lets go of the bat, and it looks like there might be some pain in that right arm. I mean, he let go with that top hand very early. And he is not feeling good at all.
Going up swinging, Johnny Peralta. The Nats saw him last year when they were in Detroit. Went on to serve a suspension for his connection to the Biogenesis PED investigation. Missed 50 ball games. Was on the restricted list from August 5th till September 26th. Was allowed to play in postseason. And hit .417 for the Tigers against Oakland, and then .286 against the Red Sox in the LCS. So St. Louis signed him as a free agent. He's up to a .188 start, but he has hit 4 home runs.
Now Jordan did a nice job of keeping the ball down so far. He didn't help himself on that ground ball, but for the most part, Steve McCatty has to be happy with the stuff. He's been down, getting ground balls, doing his thing.
Great late movement on that, even though it was up a bit. Ended up just diving. He's got good stuff tonight. Three runs in, runner at first, 2 outs. Peralta 9 hits, 4 of them home runs. Keeping the ball down and in on the right-handers.
I think all Nats fans remember that Yadier Molina will steal a base if you don't pay attention to him, as he did in Game 5 of the ALDS when he was pretty much halfway to second base before the pitch was thrown.
2-2 fouled. "25 pitches already for Taylor Jordan. And more than a handful to this hitter, number 7 in their order, Johnny Peralta. Got him down and in. Tough first inning. Cardinals pick up 3. A couple of miscues costing the Nats big. Percolating along pretty well. Has an uphill battle right in front of it again tonight. Nats are hitting .269, second best in the league, second only to the Rockies in runs. Nate McLeod, career against Adam Wainwright. Pretty good numbers, 5 hits, 3 walks. There are some Nats who've done some damage against him. Adam LaRoche, 7 hits, Worth 5, couple of home runs. Bryce Harper, 6 for 11. Career against the multi-varied arsenal of Adam Wainwright, including that big, huge curveball of his.
Well, he'll sink the fastball and cut the fastball. Last year he felt like he got a little cutter happy, so he's gone to the 2-seam sinker a little more this year. He has a curveball that'll go between 78 and 88. I think one of those curves is more like a slider, and he has a changeup at 83 miles an hour. He'll vary his delivery, so quick pitch you. Sometimes the hands over the head, sometimes the hands around the belt. He'll mix it up, and like I said in the open, 306 pitches Wainwright's thrown this year, 201 of them for strikes. Only 65 balls, make it 66 balls with that pitch all year.
Anthony Rendon, 339. Nationals leadoff guy in the top 7 in the league in RBIs. And a good take, 2-0. He's 1 for 6 career against Wainwright. So the Nats hitting .269 like the Marlins are. Rockies at .295. The 3 hittingest teams in the league. Someone had a little cut on it. 87. Wainwright is 101 and 58 in his career. Start number 189. And Rendon to the second level the other way. Strike 2.
And watching Wainwright's last start against the Cubs, gave up 7 hits in 7 innings, 4 runs. Fastball was up, and so was the curve. A lot of hard hit outs by the Cubs, but he was afforded 10 runs by his club, so he won that game 10-4. Wasn't his sharpest outing. We'll see what he's got tonight.
There's that curveball. Rendon hits it to left. Didn't get a lot of it, and Holiday there. 1 out.
So the Cards defense tonight behind Adam Wainwright, Holiday, Jay Craig, your outfield, Peralta, Carpenter, left side, Wong, Adams, your right side, and Yadier Molina, one of the best in the game behind the plate, if not the best in the game. Great game caller, handles pitchers well, throws everybody out virtually, and is an offensive weapon as well.
Yeah, they've got his career caught stealing rate at 44%. Harper with a bunt, it hit the plate, but bounced right to Adam Wainwright. 2 outs.
By the way, Adam Wainwright's thinking right now, Bryce Harper can bunt on me anytime he wants. And Bryce has got a couple of base hit bunts this year. He's trying to bring that with him. Just got a little bit too much plate air underneath it. He was trying to bunt that ball to Wong at second base. Good idea. Nats need base runners.
Jason Worth career against Wainwright. 2 homers, 5 for 23. First pitch fastball right in there. Jason at 308. 8th best on base percentage in the league with Adam LaRoche. They're both at 410. And on a pitch up, it's at a play to the right side. Great numbers against St. Louis overall career. That's right in there, inning over. Wainwright comes out with a 3-run lead, throws strikes. Nats go 1-2-3. Blood against the Nationals here. It'll be 8-9-1 for St. Louis. Second homestand of the year underway. You can still become a season plan holder. Great plans still available. Lowest prices. Lots of benefits. Purchase a full, half, or partial season plan at 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com/2014. On a night like this, plan holders and everybody all bundled up. It's going to be chilly tonight.
I'll tell you what, just looking at Taylor Jordan's stuff in the first inning, he's got the good sinker going tonight, and especially against the right-handers, the way it was moving, he really doesn't need anything else. Trust that fastball, throw it down and in, let it work.
Fastball to center fielder John Jay. Coming off a 276 season, he's hitting 250. Guides it to left field right in front of the pitcher. 4 St. Louis hits already. They came in with a road batting average of .216, and that's coming out of a 3-game series in a hitter's ballpark in Milwaukee. So somebody's been getting these guys out. It's up to the Nats to get that done this weekend. St. Louis, the way they've been pitching, they don't have to score a whole lot of runs to win. Wainwright's a good hitter. .207 career, 2 hits this year. That's a strike call. Outside half.
Well, he said he wants to win a Silver Slugger award this year, and he's made it a priority. So when they take batting practice, it's all he has the starting pitchers do is hit the ball to right field. No home run derby. They're working on things, trying to work on taking the ball the other way and getting their hits. And you got to like a pitcher that takes pride in his offense and actually set a goal of winning a Silver Slugger award before the season. You don't hear too many pitchers say, I want to win a Silver Slugger award. I've heard pitchers say, I want to win a Gold Glove.
Yeah, he's won 2 of those, by the way.
But he wants to add to the trophy case and be the best hitter as a pitcher in the National League.
Interesting. He had 6 homers and 34 RBIs career. 0-1, lays it down perfectly. Now LaRoche will play with the bare hand. Last inning, Taylor Jordan tried to pick a ball up with his glove and then couldn't find it. So that's the first out. And if the Nats win tonight and score 7 or more, you get 50% off regular menu prices at papajohns.com. Promo code NATS50 at participating locations, D.C., Maryland, Northern Virginia. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. There's Matt Carpenter, who hit that little flare by the mound to start the game that Ian Desmond dropped after a bounce. And that opened the floodgates first inning.
Even with a lefty up, you got to keep John Jay close at second base. He's not afraid to run. Ian Desmond kind of shading that way. And Jordan and Lobaton having trouble getting on the same page with the sequence with a runner on second base. Good 2-seam fastball down the zone. Elevated that pitch to John Jay for the base hit to lead off this inning. But Jordan, as you all know, is a guy that has to live on the corners, can't throw the ball right down the middle, and he has to rely on the movement of his pitches in the bottom half of the zone.
Fastball up and away, 1-1. 26 pitches, 20 strikes in the first inning. And that one hit out to right center. Short. Here comes Worth. Matt Carpenter 0 for 2, and Colton Wong will be the hitter now with 2 outs.
Matt Carpenter hasn't really got off a full swing yet in 2 at-bats. You remember the first at-bat, a check swing kind of, sort of, to Ian Desmond, reached first on the air, scored a run. And in that swing, kind of an abbreviated pass on the fly out to Worth.
Wong hit the little dribbler down the first baseline. First time up that Jordan picked up with his glove and then couldn't find. It is conceivable the Nats could have retired the first 2 men in that inning. That one was ruled a base hit, and that made 2 of the 3 first inning runs earned against Matt Williams' starter. Nationals 3.97 ERA on the year, but at home it's 2.33 through the first 6 games of the year. for those wins. Put on the inside corner with 80. The off speed. Nissan will have a look.
A changeup right here from Jordan out front on top, bottom of the zone. Good frame by Lobaton. Threw a similar pitch earlier in the game. I think in the first inning. Didn't get the call, but didn't get that same frame from Lobaton.
Tried to paint inside and missed. 2-1. Good speed at second. Really good speed in the batter's box here. And that ball hit Wong on the leg after it hit the ground. So the count's 2-2.
And Jordan and Lobaton having trouble getting synced up.
Another changeup, a beauty. Good inning, good bounce back inning for Taylor Jordan. Adam LaRoche off to a good start this year. Desmond Espinosa to follow. 3-0 visitors. At Nationals Park, it'll be 4, 5, and 6. In the bottom of the second, Honda has some interesting things to tell us about LaRoche, Desmond, and Espinosa, what they've done in their careers against the National League Central. Adam, of course, with the Pirates a long time. Ian Desmond, always hitting well against the Central. And Danny Espinosa, who's getting lots of ABs at second base.
You look at LaRoche's, that'd be a good season, right? 271, 75, and 251 RBIs.
If he had a season like that, he would be Superman Adam LaRoche.
He'd be really good.
Yeah.
Wait, he already is.
He'd leave McGuire and Sosa and Bonds and Ruth in his wake. Wainwright, only his 10th pitch. 7 strikes, ball 1 to LaRoche, bottom of the second underway. Adam 7 for 32 career with a home run against Adam Wainwright.
Battle of the Adams, who wins?
High in the zone, tailing away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
They got the full shift on the Adam in the batter's box. Wishbone offense right there. And don't forget, LaRoche has been hitting a lot of balls the other way early in the season. Maybe they're going on some old spray charts.
Always interesting to watch the pitching pattern after you see the defense set up. Wainwright, career against the Nats, 6-3 with a 3.17 ERA. 10th start. 10 starts previously. Tonight, number 11, 12 appearances overall. He was in the bullpen as their closer for a while back in 06 when he first came back from Tommy John surgery. Then on the road against the Nats, he's 2-2. Adam LaRoche has walked 11 times this year. It's the third highest total in the National League. Inside the numbers from Jeep, the Nats are hitting the long ball. 48% of their runs coming on home runs right now. Look at Houston. That's ridiculous. Reds and Braves.
But that's a misleading stat. I mean, if you average 2 runs a game and they're on home runs.
Houston, not a prolific offensive club.
I mean, you don't want to have the majority of your runs via the home run.
I guess the 3 legit teams on there would be Nats, Atlanta, Angels. Teams that do score runs and hit the long ball.
If my ball club scores 2 runs a night and they're both on homers, well, 100% of my runs are via the homer. So you want to be able to manufacture, is my point, when you're not hitting home runs, and Matt Williams has said as much this year. We want to be a ball club that manufactures.
Desmond with a high chopper. That's a hit. Wainwright had no chance to throw him out, and now the Nats have 2 on, nobody out.
And there goes the no-hitter, infield style. For Ian Desmond, he'll take it. Chopper off the plate. And Wainwright had no chance. And he tries to barehand this ball, but Desmond could have taken a turn at first by the time this came down. I can't remember seeing a chopper this high in a long time. Wainwright tries to barehand it. Didn't matter if he caught it, threw a bullet right on the money. Desmond was going to be safe. So the first hit of the night for Nats is an infield job by Ian Desmond.
I mean, that thing hit the plate and went about 50 feet straight up in the air.
I mean, it was as high as our booth, I think.
Okay, 250 feet.
Exaggeration a little bit.
Here's Espinosa. And Danny could bat the Nats right back into this one. Wainwright misses inside. Danny's off to a good start. Left-handed, 6 for 21. 10 hits overall. Of his 10 hits, 5 doubles, 1 triple. Good eye, 2-0.
Good take. That's a pitch Wainwright wants you to swing at. That cutter down and in, 89 miles an hour. Roll over that to second base. Get 2 outs with 1 pitch. It's a good take by Espinosa. Now he's got count leverage. Looking to drive something.
Cardinals have made a bunch of errors on their infield this year. Their 4 starters, other than the catcher, made 8 errors combined. Espinosa hits it to left center. Matt Holliday way off the line. Easy play for him, 1 out.
Well, Nate McLeod has had some hard hit outs so far in this season. Coming in the box just batting 100, but he's been giving you some good at-bats, making solid contact. Just really hasn't had a chance to get completely locked in, but he's getting a long look with Bernard Span, who's starting his rehab assignment tonight in Hagerstown. He'll be there tonight, tomorrow, and if all goes well, hopefully be in that lineup for the Nats on Saturday.
Nice to have minor league ball clubs close by. You can make a car trip. Hagerstown, Potomac.
Yeah, I heard somewhere the Peanuts are starting a 7-game homestand at the Fitz.
I heard that from you for the last week. Here's McLeod, 2 for 20. And a big time for his first RBI or RBIs as a Nat. 3 walks, 5 hits career against Adam Wainwright. Making his 4th start of the year. The league came in hitting .200 against him. There's that curveball, and Yadier Molina to his right to smother it.
And this is more of the straight 12-6 curveball. Good take by McLeod right there. Good block by one of the best in the game.
6 straight Gold Gloves.
A couple of platinums too, right?
11 and 12, yeah. And Andrelton Simmons got that this year. And a little pop-up. It will get out of play.
Got a curveball up in the zone. And look at the pitch one more time. Just underneath it.
Two on, 1 out. Nats down by 3. Trying to change that toward the bottom of the order. And McLeod pulls the soft ground ball right side. Matt Adams knows he has 1 play. So over to third goes Adam LaRoche. Second base, Ian Desmond. Pitcher on deck, first base open. Jose Lobaton will step in. Looks like Molina and Wainwright are talking about how they want to handle this situation.
Yeah. Well, you know my theory on this. Go after the pitcher, the guy that doesn't play every day. Lobaton gets a base hit right here. It's a 3-2 ball game, and they'd be wise to put Lobaton on right here and see if Taylor Jordan could do some damage. And that's what they're going to do. And I don't know what Mike Matheny called because I didn't see it from the dugout, but neither Yadier Molina or Adam Wainwright peeked into the Cardinals dugout. I think they just went out, 2 veteran guys. They know what they're doing and decided that on their own.
Well, Matheny, a catcher in his day. Concussions ended Mike's career when he was a Giant after some good productive days in Milwaukee and St. Louis. And he has the utmost respect and very comfortable with whatever Yadier Molina thinks they should do out there in a situation like that.
No, Mike Matheny is a great baseball man, done a great job with the Cardinals. And I think it's a lot harder to take over a great ball club than it would be, say, a rebuilding job. A lot more pressure, especially with a fan base like the Cardinals have, to win every single game all year long.
Taylor Jordan, 2 for 18 as a big league hitter. Without an RBI, he's 0 for 4 this year.
Craig shallow in right. You can run on John Jay in center. Doesn't have a very good arm. And same with Holiday in left.
Yeah, their best arm went to Yankee Stadium. Carlos Beltran. That's a curveball that Bill Miller, 16-year veteran, ruled was on the corner.
Miller liked it. I don't think Taylor Jordan did.
He did a double take when he heard that call. If it's close, be hacking. You never know what you might be able to do with 2 outs. That's not close. First of 4 in this series. First of 11 on this homestand. Jordan, another take. Well done.
Yeah, spit on a few nasty curveballs on the outside half. Well, remember last night, the Nats were down 3-0 against Jose Fernandez, and it looked like a big 3-0. They found a way to fight back in that game. Jason Worth with the big blow, that home run to right center field to tie the thing up. So, you know, the way this season has started, I guess you could say the Nats are right where they want to be. Down by 3.
And at 2-2, he goes with a fastball, and Jordan takes it. The Nats will strand 3. So on to the 3rd inning here in Washington. Matt Williams' club down big early.
At Nationals Park. Here's your latest Doug Fister update as he works back from that strained lat muscle that has him on the disabled list to begin the season. Fister threw 2 innings down at extended spring training today in Florida, and all reports are that he felt good coming out of it. He threw 28 pitches, used all of his pitches, and he'll continue to progress forward. The next step is he'll get on a 5-day throwing program. He's going to throw 3 innings his next time out in extended spring training, and then the Nats hope to send him on a minor league rehab assignment where he might make 2 outings, maybe get up to 4 innings, then 5 that next time out, and he could be back around 20-ish days. That's what the Nats are targeting if there are no more setbacks. They might have Doug Fister finally back in their rotation.
Well, the Nats need Doug Fister back in the rotation in a big way, and I need a sweater vest, Mass and Dan, just like you had on.
Really good looking on our FCS sideline report, the Association for Global Security Professionals. And on the road trip, our Honda Do-Up has the Cards doing this. Holiday 4 for 13. Hard RBI double down the left field line. First time up. Ball 1. Holiday, Adams, Molina, they're big guns. 3, 4, 5 here in the 3rd.
Well, the book on Matt Holliday is pound him in. That 2-seam fastball from Jordan works well in this matchup. You just got to get it in there. And that's the danger. You can't leave it out over.
Holiday is kind of an unusual power hitter in that he just doesn't strike out very much. 86 times all of last year. He did have a big strikeout year in 12, which was uncharacteristic for him, 132. He hardly ever strikes out 100 times in a year. He won a batting title in 07 with the Rockies when he batted .340. One more year there, went to Oakland for a year, and then traded to St. Louis for 3 minor leaguers. Right in there on 3-0.
Might be the best pitch he sees in this sequence, right down the middle. 3-0 take all the way.
Target in. Holiday takes the walk. He has struck out 9 times this year and now walked 10 times. First walk by Taylor Jordan. Matt Adams, the lefty, coming in. And then another guy behind him who doesn't strike out much, Molina. Matt Adams rolled over a ground ball for an RBI, first time up. Back in 2009, 698 players were drafted before Matt Adams out of Slippery Rock.
Jordan trying to work the bottom half, get a ground ball right here.
That fastball's up and in.
I'm watching the velocity from Taylor George tonight. This is a guy that throws 95 miles an hour at times, and he's been 88, 89.
I think 91's about as hard as we saw in Atlanta last time out.
You remember last year he had that reach back 94, 95 in his back pocket with sink on it, and the fastball tonight just not really coming out yet. I don't know if it's the cold air. I don't know what's going on, but that's not the 91 to 93 he sat at last year with the occasional 94, 95.
Change up at 80, high in the zone. Adams let it go, strike two.
And velocity not everything with Jordan. He relies on the movement in the sink, but it's not a bad thing.
That ball ripped to center, hit so well it carries, and Nate McLouth right there.
Yeah, pretty good swing by Adams right here. Got a pitch elevated in the zone. I think 86 miles an hour. Lines it straight to center. McLouth on it.
Here's Molina. Clean single to left field for an RBI first time up. He's driven in 10. And he's off to a huge start, batting .364. .284 career batting average through 9+ years in the big leagues now.
You're just watching the highlights of Yadier Molina early in the season. He seems to be turning on the baseball more than normal, with authority too. A couple of his home runs have been to the pole side. And he's a guy that you think of when you think of Yadier. He uses the whole field and doesn't necessarily pull the fastball on a consistent basis, but this year, from what I've seen, he has.
That skips in the dirt. And the count goes to 3-0. They've done a good job of not wearing him out over the years. I think the most games he's ever played in a season was 140, usually somewhere between 130, 140, which is about all you get out of a frontline catcher anymore. And he's been pretty durable. That's in there, 3-1. He'll be 32 in July. And a count of 3-1. Runner on the move. You can do that with Molina because he makes contact. And the count full with one out.
I don't mean to harp on it, but the last two fastballs, 88 and 89.
Mike Matheny's hitting coach, John Mabry, a pretty good left-handed hitter in his time with St. Louis and the Cubs. And a 3-2 with one out. Short lead. Runner going. Molina rips it. Rendon, Espinosa around the horn. with an outstanding 5-4-3 double play.
Well, how many times do you see that with the runner going on the pitch and a ground ball to third that you turn the double play? Watch Rendon get rid of the hot shot off the bat of Molina, and once you get it to second, that's it. Miami, that seemed to turn the momentum around, and I'm going to go with that here tonight. Normally you don't see a 5-4-3 double play when the runner's going, so how are they going on the pitch? But based on the speed of the ball off the bat of Molina and the quick release and arm strength of Rendon, he went for the force at second first. Normally just throw that ball across. And with the speed of Yadier Molina running down the line, even if Holiday beats the relay to second, you're still going to get it out at first. So very intelligent play by Anthony Rendon right there to start that 5-4-3 double play, even though the runner was moving.
Yeah, and Danny Espinosa did a good job of clearing himself there. So 5-4-3. Here comes 1-2-3 for the Nats. Rendon, Harper, and Worth, bottom third. Anthony flied to left first time. Harper was out bunting. Worth took a called third strike against Wainwright, who's thrown 32 pitches, 17 strikes, and ball one to start the third. Rendon was reaching. Wainwright's had him reaching a couple of times now, and Johnny Peralta throws out Anthony. All-star outfielders Bryce Harper and Mike Trout face off for the first time ever in the regular season, Monday through Wednesday next week. Purchase your game tickets, 202-675-NATS, or visit nationals.com/tickets.
I'll tell you what, I haven't seen a whole lot of Mike Trout. Probably the best player all around in baseball. But last night on the plane watching the A's-Angels game, I think it was in the ninth inning, bottom of the ninth. He was on first base. It was a clean single up the middle. And he did not hesitate on a hard hit ball right up the middle to go first to third. And he turned on the jets around second base, and I knew he was fast, but I didn't know he had that gear. I mean, it was awesome to watch him go first to third on a hard hit ball to straightaway center.
Yeah, I was looking over his numbers yesterday, and this ball pretty well hit by Bryce Harper, but plenty of room for John Jay. Mike Trout stole 49 bases in his first full season in the big leagues in 2012, 33 more last year. He's led the league in runs the last 2 years, which means he's on base a lot. Scored 238 runs combined in 2012 and 13, and he will be on display with Bryce here starting Monday night.
Legit 5-tool guy.
Worth is next. Wainwright with a late breaking slider, and Vic Carapazza says no swing.
Said he didn't go.
They almost always look guilty from the side, don't they?
Yeah.
It's always interesting because that can come from a camera on either end of the dugout. Ballparks vary from position to position. He gets the call near the outside corner. Worth will pull it off, speed pitch. That was 75 miles an hour, and the throw launched by Matt Carpenter, and Worth tagged by Matt Adams. 1, 2, 3, same hitters twice in a row by Wainwright.
Mercedes-Benz of Arlington and Mercedes-Benz of Alexandria. 3-0 Cards heading to the top of the fourth. Adam Wainwright doing his thing, throwing strikes. But let's go back to the first inning. It started right out of the gate. David Carpenter, routine ground ball. Ian Desmond can't handle it. Free base runner. Maybe not a routine grounder, but Jordan couldn't get out of his glove. They ruled that a hit. And then anytime you give Matt Holliday a chance to drive in and run, he's going to cash in. So double down the line. That put the Cards up 1-0. They ended up scoring 3 in the first frame, and that's where we stand.
Yeah, it could have been a scoreless inning. And here we go to the top of the fourth. Alan Craig for St. Louis. 80 miles an hour on the breaking ball, low and away. 54 pitches, 36 strikes, first 3 innings. 25-year-old Taylor Jordan. Pretty good late movement down and into the right-hander there. Anthony Rendon playing some solid third base these days. Johnny Peralta, John Jay, the next two.
I talked to Anthony yesterday before the game. And he feels very comfortable back in his old stomping grounds at third base. He looked very comfortable at his new stomping ground second base as well. So put him anywhere he can play.
Yeah, he's evidently stomping all over the place with no problems. Not to mention on the base paths after he swings that nice bat of his. Here's Peralta, who was out swinging and missing first time up. He has struck out 10 times. He's 9 for 49 with his new ball club. He's a .268 career hitter. 11 years with Cleveland and Detroit. Two-time All-Star over in the American League, 11 and 13 with the Tigers. And a count of 2-1. To a shortstop who can hit for power. Couldn't get that 82.
Good changeup. See if they double up on it. Yeah, 2-1 changeup to Peralta. He's thinking fastball all the way. Good late movement down the zone.
Close. No swing. Vic Carapazza down there at first.
Triple up on it. Throw it in. He threw it twice. Almost got him right there.
It's been his best pitch. 3-2. Don't want to walk somebody. And Peralta will reach out and sky that one down the left field line, and it'll hit fair. Bryce Harper picks it up. Strong throw. Safe by an eyelash at second base. Danny Espinosa ended up dropping the ball, but it sure looked like Bryce had no chance, and he made it close.
Well, from our vantage point, Bryce disappeared down the corner, and all of a sudden you see a cannon shot come out of there. We'll see it together right here. I don't know if Espinosa holds on. Is he out? What a throw by Bryce Harper, and I think Peralta would have been safe either way. Espinosa trying to make the quick tag. It looks like it would have been close. Good throw by Harper.
This one out to Ian Desmond at short. He will throw a bad one to Adam LaRoche, and Ian Desmond has made another error. His 7th of the year, 2nd of the game. And Ian, hands on his knees, himself wondering what's going on.
Well, you see Ian Desmond make errors with a glove. You very rarely see Ian Desmond make throwing errors. And this one, he just kind of chokes off. Look at this throw. I mean, straight into the ground. With something on it, LaRoche had no chance. And at times, you'll see Ian throw a ball high, but I don't know that I've ever seen him throw one that straight into the ground before. And he is thinking about it for sure.
Here's Wainwright, a very good bunter. Peralta runs pretty well at third base. They might try to steal a run here by laying one down. And with a guy like Wainwright, you can always switch off and have him swing. Tough situation for the Nats defense here. Rendon even with the bag. LaRoche holding his runner. Desmond, Espinosa at double play depth. A chopper. There's a chance for two. Espinosa can't clear himself. Taken out on the double play by John Jay.
They're calling him safe at second.
So evidently everybody's safe, and here comes Matt Williams.
Well, that's been, I guess, the call of the year so far is the catch and transfer rule. We've seen it with the outfielders catching fly balls. Nate McLouth the other day in Atlanta, and umpires have been enforcing it strictly. So Adam Amari is saying the ball was not in Espinosa's glove. I mean, that's clearly in his glove. He's going to throw the baseball. It's in his glove.
Yeah, for a while.
He's going to throw the baseball to first. It's still in his hand, and I have no idea what Adam Amari is seeing right there, but that's definitely a force out. Not the best feed from Ian Desmond either. Low into Espinosa's right, and I think the best thing about that play is that Danny Espinosa is okay. I mean, he had to hang in there late, right?
Well, Matt Williams leaving the field.
I mean, you see that enforced when the ball kind of hits the glove and it's like a frying pan, and the ball drops straight down the transfer, and we'll call it safe. But that ball was in Danny's glove. He's taking it out with his right hand. It was actually in his right hand for a moment and then came out. Not sure about that.
They haven't put a run on the scoreboard. Now they do. A run scored on that play. Peralta from third. Fielder's choice. RBI Wainwright. 2 on, still only 1 out. And if they're going to call that somebody's going to get seriously hurt trying to turn a double play.
Yeah, so if I have to stay in there and catch the ball, make sure it's in my hand, and show the umpire the ball before I turn the double play,
you're going to get taken out by somebody.
Yes.
Base hit up the middle by Matt Carpenter. McLeod will hit the cutoff man. LaRoche, bases loaded, 1 out. You know, FP, if you have replay and all that like we now do, that's one thing. But if you're going to take a play or certain plays and now change how players make those plays, that they've been doing it the same way for years and years, you are setting somebody up to get hurt badly.
You can see the frustration with Espinosa still after that call. And I guess you have to maintain possession of the ball throughout the throw. I have no idea, but that ball clearly in Espinosa's glove, and he's even talking to Wainwright about it right now at second base. It just seems like everybody throughout baseball is playing a different game in 2014 than they have for the past 100+ years.
A couple of days ago, Nate McLeod had a play like that in Atlanta. Dan, what did he have to say about that after he was called for an error?
Talked to him about that play actually when we were in Miami, Bob, and Nate said essentially what FB just said, that he's been, playing the game a certain way for however many years, and now the rule has kind of been changed in a sense that you have to possess the ball through a throwing motion. So he dropped that ball in Atlanta when he was transferring it from the glove to the throwing hand.
Taylor Jordan dropping another ground ball. He did get the force play at home. That was almost disastrous. Unfortunately, the Nats got the lead runner.
Stayed with it and made a good throw, and this thing could have went anywhere. Bare hand hurries it, and it was bang bang at home plate. And I don't know if Mike Matheny is going to challenge this. I'm looking down the dugout. He's staying in there.
Matt Holliday coming up. Bases still loaded. 2 outs now. We'll get back to Dan when we can. Don't want to miss any game action here. And Holliday will foul it. Dan, how about filling us in now on the rest of what Nate McLeod had to say about that play?
He essentially, Bob, said that players now are starting to learn that they need to make sure to possess the ball through a throwing motion, that on plays like that, transfers, they have to possess the ball before getting rid of it and making a throw. So it will happen in the outfield. It'll happen especially on those plays around the bag for middle infielders.
Well, my high school football coach used to make us walk around campus with a football if we ever fumbled the game. So maybe a lot of Nats or Major League Baseball players should carry a baseball around with them all day long.
Time of possession given a whole new meaning. One ball, one strike. Here's Blake Trinan, who may have an extended assignment tonight. Any run scored in this inning will be unearned because of the Ian Desmond error on John Jay. Would have been the second out. And then Wainwright hit into what would have been the third out with his ground ball. Here's another one to Desmond. Shovels to second. Close play. And Danny Espinosa runs quickly out of Dodge before anybody can change their mind. 4-0 St. Louis. St. Louis 4-0 now. LaRoche, Desmond, and Espinosa coming up.
You know what time it is, Carp. It's time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #MASSonNationals for a chance to have it shown on our broadcast tonight, as brought to you by AT&T.
Nice crowd on hand tonight, all bundled up on a chilly April 17th evening. Nats made the warm weather swing through Atlanta and Miami, and now home for 11. Supposed to be warming up over the weekend. We look forward to that. Here's LaRoche, who started off the second inning with his 11th walk of the year. He was looking to bunt a base hit down the third base line.
Somebody just tweeted me that baseball now has a tuck rule.
Good
call.
That's
hilarious.
Yeah, good call.
I mean, that play not everything. It's just something to talk about. The defense hasn't been good all season for the Nats, but it's just interesting how that rule's enforced. And it seems like there's just something new with baseball every year. And in my experiences, maybe they just get bored in the offseason, but you know, one year it was the balk. We're going to really enforce that guys come to a stop this year, and if they don't come to a stop, we're going to call it balk. So there was balks all over the league. Then one year, I remember Bruce Fleming talking to us in spring training saying, we're really going to emphasize the high strike this year. That's going to be the thing. And as a hitter, you go up there, and if a ball was letter high, they were calling it a strike. And apparently, bored once again this offseason, they decided to make the, I don't know, catch rule, the catch and carry the tuck rule, the new thing this year. I don't know why we continue to try to change a game that to me is perfect.
Been played the same way for over 150 years. Here's Ian Desmond, chopped a base hit off home plate first time. Went straight up in the air. He beat it out. Nats only hit to this point. Looked like Ian was looking first pitch. Curveball there. That is some big hook.
Well, he'll throw you one for a strike early in the count. And once he establishes it in his zone, he'll throw it shorter and shorter. And what I mean by that is he'll start bouncing it, maybe expand on the outer half with it, kind of play with his release point to where it actually have some tilt to it, where it's not just straight 12-6 up and down. It'll actually go across a little bit. And there's the bouncer right there. But his mechanics are so solid, his base is so solid that he's able to change arm angles, mess with grips, add and subtract on the curveball, add and subtract on the fastball. Everything looks the same coming out of his hand.
Ian Desmond in this AB down by 4 runs, hasn't seen a fastball yet. Came in hitting .224, badly needed base hit first time. And that's a slider cutting away. And Wainwright, his third strikeout. 2 outs here in the fourth.
And here's the delivery, kind of what you're seeing at the plate. You see him drop the arm angle right there, almost the cutter slider at 87 miles an hour. So not straight over the top, almost 3/4 right there for the strikeout.
One chop hit off the plate. 1 walk, 1 intentional. The intentional to get himself out of a second and third with 2 outs. He struck out Taylor Jordan after that. And here's Danny Espinosa, who flied to left first time up.
This might be the only pitch you get right here. 2-0 count against a guy that's a strike thrower. Danny Espinosa sees the fastball. He'll be on it.
That was 90. 2 balls, 1 strike. Wainwright did not pitch in 2011. Earlier in his, early in his career, he had missed significant time as well. Tommy John surgery comeback guy.
A lot of those in baseball.
Yeah, he had that Tommy John surgery in 11. Came back, threw a lot of innings. He was kind of the exception. Guy who came back and just kind of geared it back up. Not everybody can do that. And he made 32 starts the following year, 34 in 2013, plus had postseason action both of those times.
Remember, he came back early in 2012, and when the Nats faced him in the playoffs, he wasn't himself. And came back quicker than average from that surgery, and still just wasn't at 100% when he faced them in October 2012.
And against lefties, what he's doing. You'd think he'd throw more changeups against lefties, but his curveball's so big, he can throw that against anybody.
Well, he's just a guy that's going to stay away with the fastball, show you it, and then go to his off-speed stuff to get you out. Molina wants this in the dirt.
Got it. Strikeout number 4. Wainwright quieting down the Nats. The side of the tomahawk and the birds on the bat. Very unpleasant lately for Washington. He will come into your picture soon. In fact, Teddy was about to win it, and a whole bunch of people wanted high fives along the first base side.
Teddy's so ADD.
You know what? There comes a time in every politician's life when you just have to not shake hands.
Yeah.
Just win the race, accept the accolades after you've done so.
I don't know if I can really blame him for stopping, though.
I mean, win the race, get in the clubhouse. You can shake hands with anybody after that. Top of the 5th, here's Matt Adams. 73rd pitch by Taylor Jordan. He fades it nicely to the outside corner. Jordan's given up 2 earned runs tonight, 2 unearned. And deserves better than he's been given so far. 1 hop, LaRoche backing up. He'll run it to the pitcher. 5th inning underway.
Oh, your favorite promo of the night, Attitude Flex Packs are back for 2014. Pick 4 games and get a 5th free. Choose from 5 different packs, including the bobblehead and concert Flex Pack. Those are always good, right? Everyone lined up for those bobbleheads around the corner. The concert series last year, fantastic. Some restrictions apply. Visit nationals.com/flex. Flexing right now for details.
Here's Molina, 1 for 2 with an RBI hit and a double play ball. And Taylor Jordan ahead of him. He's due to bat 3rd in the bottom of the 5th. Matt Williams, a decision to make if he breezes through this inning. Good curveball. Looked like Molina was not at all interested in a swing.
Yeah, it's a heater night for sure. Take one up here, guys. Can you roll one of those up here? By the way, I am digging your bomber jacket you have on, Cart. I mean, you look like a World War II fighter pilot sitting next to me.
Well, we do work at high altitude.
I mean, that is straight out of Top Gun.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Whatever it takes to be warm, right?
Well, that breeze is coming right down the Anacostia tonight from the right side into our faces. Good pick by Danny Espinosa, and that's 2 outs. Not an easy play. Didn't have to go that far, but that thing had some hair on it.
It did. You took the words right out of my mouth. Danny Espinosa, not a routine play right there. Yadier Molina hitting a seed to his left. Not a whole lot of reaction time. You're kind of at the mercy of the baseball when it's hit this hard. You don't have time to read a hop or get around it. Just make the play. And now, once you field it, that's the hard part. Nice play.
Alan Craig with 2 outs. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. And a ground ball. He gashes one to right center. Nate McLeod sliding his way.
Still not a catch.
To a shoot-top catch.
Hasn't taken it out of his glove yet.
He's not going to.
Still not a catch.
Hopefully not an error when he hands it to a fan. We're going bottom 5. Well played by Nate. Telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Trying to get something going against Adam Wainwright on a cold night, not easy to do. And the Nats are trying to get that done. Check in on our friend from Washington, D.C. Manuel Burris is in the organization. This is from PNC Bank for the Achiever in You. 29 years of age, previous big league time with the Giants. Wilson High School here, Kent State. 286. Drawing some walks using that great speed of his. Manny Burris, McLeod, Lobatone, and at least scheduled Taylor Jordan. In the bottom of the fifth, Wainwright, 54 pitches, 31 strikes, threw 4, 1 hit, shutout innings. One ball and 2 strikes. Nate McLeod pulled the ball on the ground first time to Adams at first. And hits that ball in the air to right for Alan Craig. A lot of routine outs here. Hard to remember one ball really hit with great authority. Well, we hope you're nice and warm at home enjoying a cold one. Not too possible where we are right now, so you look forward to Miller time late in the game. Brought to you by Miller Lite.
They're bundled up. We're bundled up. I just had to sprint downstairs and get a cup of coffee between innings just to hold.
Yeah, it is. I'd say we're probably 10 degrees colder up here than the rest of the ballpark. Some folks in the upper deck know what we have up here. A little breezy. Strike one to Jose Lobatone. Walked intentionally. First time up. 1-1. I mean, this guy gives you nothing to hit.
A fastball for show. I mean, he'll throw for a strike when he has to, but he'll stay away predominantly with the fastball and then he'll drop that hammer in mid-70s on you. I wouldn't be surprised if he doubles up right here and maybe throws another one in the dirt.
'91. Teams with identical 9-6 records coming in. As mentioned, each 5-4 on the road, 4-2 at home. Wainwright tries to go through that side door with a breaking ball. It stayed out there, 2-2. Espinosa, rather Lobatone, on a fastball up and in. Swing and a miss, and that's 5 Ks for Adam Wainwright. And he struck out 3 of the last 4, by the way.
Just moving the ball all the way around. I mean, fastball away, then he goes to the cutter right there. You see the kind of side rotation on it. 87 miles an hour. So fastball 91, outer half, cutter down and in for strike 3. Off a couple of nasty curveballs. So Lobatone seeing almost everything from Adam Wainwright.
Taylor Jordan still in the ball game. 80 pitches, 54 strikes. He's only given up 3 hits and 1 unearned run since the first inning. No balls, 2 strikes. If Wainwright gets him, he will have cut through the order the second time around, 9 in a row. This ball game into the 6th inning. It'll be 7, 8, and 9 for St. Louis. Adam Wainwright controlling the Nats right now.
On a cold night, when the Nats aren't doing a lot of hitting, they're up against one of the best pitchers in the National League. Bob's bomber jacket. That's exactly what you talk about on a night like tonight. So a lot of folks on Twitter asking about Bob's jacket. There it is. You're just missing the scarf, partner, and maybe a helmet.
I'm sorry, there will be no scarf. Well, we're doing what we can to stay warm up here, and it chills you a little more to see what Adam Wainwright's doing to this offense. Ball club on a high, coming off a great win last night in Miami. First inning, a real downer. FP kind of sets a bad tone for the rest of the night.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you have to be ready from the first play of the game, especially when you're playing the upper echelon teams of the league. And I don't know what happened, but we've watched Ian Desmond throughout the years, and in April he's had trouble fielding ground balls. And right now, I think he's just kind of sitting on the baseball and not playing through it, and that's causing him to bobble some baseballs he normally makes a play. So I don't think anybody's worried about Ian Desmond right now. But with all the emphasis on defense and all the talk being about defense in spring training, I think it's a little concerning early in the year that the Nats have, what is it now, 19 errors, and that leads all of baseball.
Yeah, 18, counting 2 tonight. There was a miscue by the pitcher, but it was called a base hit. Oh yeah, the other error, I forgot about that. Well, and we talked a lot about defense and the running game in spring training. The Nationals have the fewest stolen bases in baseball, 4 in 15 games. Now, running situations don't come up all the time, and at times they have been mashing pretty well, so who needs to run? But a couple of things we thought would be hallmarks of this ball club in the first 2.5 weeks have not been.
They'll work it out. It's a long way to go, long season. It'll shore up.
That's a breaking ball up, and Peralta unable to get to it. Taylor Jordan strikes him out. That's his 4th K of the night.
Yeah, elevated fastball. And Peralta laid at, I think, what was 91 miles an hour.
That's outside, says Bill Miller on the first pitch to John Jay. Cardinals out of the gate early after the Desmond error. Hits by Wong, Holiday, and Molina, adding up to a 3-run first. And then a fielder's choice grounder by Wainwright after another shortstop error in the 4th. And a 1-1 pitch, and that's low, ball 2. And that will hit John Jay. And he goes down to first with 1 out. "16 ball games this year. They've now trailed in 12 of them. It's just unbelievable what's happening in the first couple of innings. Outscored by a 3-1 margin. And then just hacking away the rest of the night. Getting back into games. Icing a few. And staging some impressive comebacks. But against a guy like Adam Wainwright, really tough to do unless he just starts making mistakes. He's only thrown 67 pitches in his 5 innings.
That veteran guy like Wainwright probably knows, not probably, absolutely knows what to do with a lead like that. Maybe more so than a Jose Fernandez. But I think last night wasn't really Jose's fault. There was just some poor decisions made behind him. He had stuff to go deep into that game.
Wainwright to Desmond, deep short. thought about throwing to first. Then he thought maybe he could get the runner going around second. Probably have to be ruled a base hit by Wainwright with infielders all over the place. He just bounced it into a spot where it took Ian a long time to get there.
He had to go far to his right to make this play, but this is a play we've seen Ian Desmond plant and throw all the way across the infield. Looked like his feet weren't underneath him. Had to take this extra little shuffle right there, and really didn't get a good plant on his backside to stand up and use that big arm of his.
Top of the order, here's Matt Carpenter, 1 for 3. This game on the brink of being out of reach. Got to keep him off the board here in the 6th inning. Back into their bullpen has had an issue or two, St. Louis. They actually sent a couple of guys out today and brought in 2 new pitchers. Keith Butler and Pat Neshek sent out. Eric Fortunato and Jorge Rondon brought up, and Blake Shrinen's up for the 2nd time tonight. But you noted that Trevor Rosenthal, who has 4 saves, has a high ERA.
67 pitches for Wainwright to this point. Cards bullpen and the use of it looks far away.
They might get the night off. 2-0. Steve McCaddy, a slow walk to the mound.
A little bit to talk to Taylor Jordan, maybe a little bit to get Blake Treinen all the way hot in the Nats bullpen.
Yeah, not a reliever who can get that way in 15 pitches or something. Needs a while. Well, we thought this was an important first game of the series, because the next 3 you've got Gio, Jordan Zimmerman, Steven Strasburg going Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Against Michael Wacha, Lance Lynn, and Shelby Miller. .2-0 pitch with 1 out. He's nibbling, and he's missed 3-0.
Make that same pitch right here. You might get a ground ball right at somebody and get out of this inning.
Bases loaded, 1 out. And this all started with a 1 out number 8 batter hit by a pitch. Pitcher base hit. Matt Williams on his way, and that's it for Taylor Jordan. He'll go 5 1/3. Strikeout 4. And to this point, give up 7 base hits. This call to the bullpen package by the UPS store. Your one-stop shop for all your small business needs. Let us handle your mailbox service needs. We love logistics. 96 pitches, 65 strikes for Jordan.
against the Angels. $1 hot dogs, $1 peanuts, $1 popcorn, $1 Bob Carpenter scorebooks. Some restrictions apply. See all-star outfielders Bryce Harper and Mike Strout face off for the first time in the regular season. Tickets start at just $10. Call 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com/tickets. $1 Bob Carpenter scorebooks, folks. Line up around the corner.
Is it in your deal that I have to appear in every promo this year?
I told you I'm going to try to include you in every one.
Here's Colton Wong, 1 for 3. Tough guy to double up. Last time up, he bounced one back to the pitcher. This time the pitcher is Blake Trinan. So the Cardinals seeing another right-hander they've never faced. Bases loaded, 1 out. And a swing and a foul tip. And the octane just got upgraded to 96 miles an hour on Trinan's heater.
Yeah, fastball 95 to 98. He's hit triple digits at the AA level. 2-seam variety, late sink. Slider and a change to go with it.
Only 1 infield hit. Loading the bases here. With 1 out, John Jay really changed the inning. Hit by a pitch. Then Wainwright with a bouncing ball to deep short. That was a hit, and then Carpenter walked. Great movement with 97 to go with it. Wow.
Yeah, a little swing back 2-seamer for Blake Trinan. Starts it on the inner half, runs it back to the corner. Good frame by Lobaton. Not too many front door sinkers in baseball that are 97. That's a fastball at 98. I was about to say that was the changeup right there. I looked up and said 98. Good late movement. Goodness. I think with a guy like Blake Trinan, Carp, you just set up right down the middle and let the pitch work for itself.
So they call trusting your stuff, right?
Yeah, you can't set to a corner on a guy that has that much movement on his fastball. Set up down the middle and let it work.
2-2 to Colton Wong. Look at that. Again, it looks like a changeup, but it's 96. Are you kidding me? 2 outs.
Well, the reason you're thinking that, and you're probably thinking that at home, is because the motion is so effortless. Free and easy delivery. And you see where Lobaton set up right down the middle, but watch this pitch work its way to the outside corner. Talk about getting on top and inside of a pitch. Impressive. Very impressive.
Well, how about this matchup? Trinan and Matt Holliday, who's 1 for 2 with an RBI double and a walk.
He gets that sinker in. That's where he wants it, against Holliday.
And he holds on too long. It's away, 97.
Big strikeout right there, trying to wiggle out of this thing and keep it to a 1-swing game. Keep it within Grand Slam range. Never know. Matt Williams probably thinking the same thing. If we got a chance tonight, we got to get out of this. See the swing by Holliday right there. That'll give you an idea of what he's seen at the plate.
One ball, 1 strike to Matt Holliday. Cold crowd, quiet. Seeing if the Nats can get out of this jam. They will not. That's into left center. They will hold the second runner. That was the pitcher, Wainwright, running. Jose Oquendo wasn't going to take any chance sending him home. So it's now a 5-0 game.
Tried to get it in, but just left it out over enough to where Holliday probably looked in there, cheated a little bit. Meaning he started his swing earlier than he wanted to. Look for it on the inner half. Drop the barrel to the baseball, and that's what good hitters do.
2 RBIs tonight for Holliday, 9 on the year. And the hitter will be the left-handed power guy, Matt Adams. He's 0 for 3 with an RBI ground ball.
Boy, 98 with split-like movement. And he just left that pitch a hair up and a hair too much of the plate to Holiday. But look at that movement at 98. That's almost a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and there's nothing straight about it.
Then he goes with a four-seamer up and away, 97.
And that's a pitch that could work real well for Blake Trinan down the road, because as a hitter, you're telling yourself to elevate this guy. He's got a nasty sinker. I want to get him up. But then if you go higher than high, higher than the letters, it changes your eye line as a hitter, where you're looking down, and all of a sudden it's up like that. Surprises you, especially at upper 90s.
0-2 pitch. And Adams just trying to level it off. And a reminder, if you don't remember this from last week when Blake first came up in Atlanta, one of the players involved in the Michael Morse deal from Oakland with A.J. Cole, player to be named later, turned out to be Ian Kroll in exchange for Morse on January 16th of 13. That ball clangs off the national sign. They had the runner hung up between third and home, and Lobaton lobbed it without ever looking. He just assumed Wainwright was coming home, and they had him halfway between third and home, a dead duck. So no scoring on the play as it clanged off the Nationals Park sign behind the batter's box.
In Lobaton's defense, that's about communication, either from the pitcher or the third baseman. But when the ball goes behind you and the play's behind you, you're relying on somebody else's eyes. And you look at the cross-up right there. I mean, he's looking for that ball on the other side. That was supposed to be a slider. He threw a fastball. But right here, he needs somebody to say 3-3-3 or home, home, home. And you see Blake Trinan pointing to third base, and maybe he was saying it, but I don't think Jose Lobaton heard it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And good teams make you pay when you don't play well against them. It is now 7-0. And every mistake the Nats have made tonight, they have paid dearly. Matt Adams, 3 RBIs.
So the cross-up, and then I won't say lack of communication. I just don't think Lobaton heard what Blake Trinan was saying. And he just flips it to the plate. Trinan's not there because he knows there's no play at the plate. Watch Trinan. Just watch Blake Trinan. He's pointing to third base saying 3-3-3-3, not even looking at the plate because he knows there's no play. And then, like you said, you give a team like the Cardinals extra outs, and they've had a few tonight. That's what's going to happen with the score.
7 runs, 5 earned. Charged to Taylor Jordan. Molina, the hitter. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI single.
Even though that fastball, excuse me, Carp, is upper 90s, you still have some. You have to have something else to go with it. You have to throw something the other side of the plate. That slider right there.
Wow, looked like a swing. Vic Carapazza said no down at first.
Well, check it out from the side. Good slider by Trinan, and if he hits that, it's a triple.
Yeah, he went. Got the call that time. Nats going off the field, and St. Louis picks up 3 more. This weekend series against St. Louis. Some pitching on display. It'll be Gio tomorrow night as we go at 7 o'clock again against Michael Wacha, who almost no-hit the Nats in St. Louis. Jordan Zimmerman, Lance Lynn, day game Saturday. WUSA 9 will join us. Strasburg and Shelby Miller on Sunday. And you're looking at the first 2 of the 3-game series with the Angels coming in Monday.
Screech lid. I like it.
Shane Robinson takes over for Alan Craig in right field. That'll put Craig in left field. So Matt Holliday already 2 for 4 tonight with a walk, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Mike Matheny evidently going to give him the rest of the night off and have him fresh for the weekend. Adam Wainwright now back to work. 67 pitches, 41 strikes through 5. The Nats have 1 hit, 3 base runners, 1 walk, 1 intentional walk. Then Wainwright keeps throwing strikes. This ball down to the right field corner. Long run for Robinson, and he will get there.
You come into a big league game, the ball's going to find you. And Shane Robinson with a fine running catch in foul territory that I don't think Alan Craig would have got to. So everything working for the Cardinals here tonight. Mike Matheny pulling all the right strings, putting Shane Robinson in a fine running catch into foul territory. And talk about disregard for life and limb. He never even looked at that part that sticks out right there. He was just running for the baseball, head in the air, and acted like it was his own home ballpark. Nice play.
Bryce Harper next. He tried to butt his way aboard, bounced back to Wainwright in the first. Flied to center in the third. 89 by him. And then the big hook. Mercedes-Benz will try and track it.
Yeah, first pitch cutter to Harper at 89. Then Wainwright backs it up. The nasty 12-6 curveball on the outer half. You see the swing by Harper. He was looking for that cutter in again. Fastball on the inner half, and he got the curveball away.
Wainwright threw a fastball in on his hands. And a fly ball for Craig. So one guy comes in, the other switches positions, and the ball finds both. 2 outs here in the 6th with Jason Worth coming up. Nats box pretty empty. LaRoche leadoff walk 2nd inning. Desmond infield hit off the plate. And then later in that inning with 2nd and 3rd 2 outs, they walked Lobaton intentionally to get to Taylor Jordan, and Wainwright struck him out looking. Worth has been called on strikes and bounced out to 3rd. Funny swing on a curveball. Here's Adams. Adam Wainwright dominating a good hitting Washington team through 6.
We promised you early in the game we'd show you an AT&T fan photo. Well, there it is.
Is that Terrence?
And there it is. And there's your AT&T fan photo.
Oklahoma City Thunder stole Terrence. He'll be back when the NBA season's over. Get back here, buddy. Come on. Top of the 7th inning. Alan Craig, Johnny Peralta, John Jay, 6, 7, 8 for St. Louis. Craig 0 for 3. Hit the ball really hard right at Nate McLeod. Last time up, and Nate made a fine shoestring catch on him.
No, Nate McLeod's not one of those players that's going to wow you in one game, but when you watch him play over the course of a 6-month season, he's going to help this ball club tremendously. No doubt in my mind.
That's wicked. 94 under the bat of Alan Craig.
Yeah, 94. True sinker right there. Not just running in, but running down and in. You see Craig once again letting go with that top hand very early in the swing.
He'll hit it to the right side. Adam LaRoche gets behind the ball. 1 out. Not an easy play.
Begin your night of Nationals baseball with Rob Long, Jim Duquette, Phil Wood, and Dave Johnson on the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report tomorrow night at 5 p.m. before the Nats take on the Cards one more time.
And Desmond unable to get that one off the bat of Johnny Peralta. Just high enough to get him a 2-for-4 night.
Pretty good effort by Ian Desmond. Good pitch by Blake Trinan. Got in on Johnny Peralta. Desmond going back for it. And just over the outreach glove.
One on, one out. John Jay in the number 8 spot's been on base 3 times tonight. Base hit, error, hit by a pitch. And that hit batter with 1 out in the 6th when Taylor Jordan was facing the bottom of the order led to a 3-run inning. St. Louis, of course, picked up Peter Borges in a trade with the Angels last November for David Freese and a pitcher, Fernando Salas. And John Jay getting the start against right-handed pitching tonight. Borges is a right-handed batter, .251 career hitter.
Well, remember John Jay, he used to have that big hitch in his swing where he started his hands kind of around that Cardinal logo. On the backside, he did that big hitch with a leg kick, and this year made the adjustment to starting with the bat on his shoulder and kind of more spread out. And his lower half a lot more under control. Remember, he used to have that big hitch in his swing, almost like old school. Watch where he's starting his bat this year, right on his shoulder.
Up the middle. Runner slowed down between first and second. That was a smart play by Peralta so that Espinosa couldn't tag him and throw on for the double play. So the Nats get the lead runner, and they'll face Adam Wainwright here with 2 outs.
Adam Wainwright 1 for 2 on the night. Sacrifice, RBI run, hitting .375, and
he's 3 for 8 with 2 RBIs on the air.
He wants the Silver Slugger.
That fastball just bangs off the backstop, and a wild pitch sends John Jay down to second base.
You never know where the ball's going to bounce when it comes off the backstop here at Nats Park, and got to hustle down to second. I'll tell you what, Carp, just talking to some of the Cardinals people about Wainwright and the way he's kind of conducting pitchers' batting practice this year, making everybody shorten up their swings and go to right field. I mean, how many times do you watch, on the road, the home team pitchers just play home run derby?
Yeah.
And like, what are you really getting out of that other than, it's loose and fun? I understand guys need to have some fun over the course of a 6-month season. But when you talk about really helping yourself as a pitcher, getting the sacrifices down, shortening up your swing, putting the ball in play, over the course of 6 months and 30 starts times 3 or 4 at bats, if you're lucky. I mean, that's helping yourself out.
Yeah. I wonder if some of that comes from his old mentor, Dave Duncan, because when Duncan was Tony La Russa's pitching coach, he also supervised the pitchers hitting. And Duncan wasn't a pitcher. He was a catcher in his major league career. I just wonder if Adam Wainwright might have taken something from Duncan, who's now, of course, retired from the Cardinals as an active pitching coach, and taken some of that a little bit down the road. But they've always had a good hitting staff. 3 balls, 1 strike. You don't want to walk him and go back to the top of the order for a guy like Matt Carpenter, and that's right in there, 95. Can you say he took a little bit off when he throws 95 on 3-1? I guess.
A BP fastball.
And he walked him. There are so many fundamental things wrong with this game tonight. Top of the order, Matt Carpenter. Jason Worth's walk-off home runs getting further and further away as the calendar marches on, and that's the last time the Nats beat this team. Ball 1.
Well, if the Nats want to do what they set out to do in spring training this year, the road definitely goes through Atlanta, and it definitely goes through St. Louis and possibly Los Angeles as well. And Matt Williams knows that better than anybody. He said as much before the game yesterday in Miami, that basically every series is big, but when you play the elite teams and you want to accomplish the things you want to as an organization, that you have to beat them. And so far, that hasn't been the case.
Nats were 6-13 against Atlanta last year. 1-5 against the Dodgers. 0-6 against the Cardinals. 7-24 overall. And considering they finished 10 games over 500 on the year, they pretty much took care of business against everybody else. That's a base hit to left field. They will hold the runner, John Jay, at third. And the bases are loaded again. That'll bring in Colton Wong, and here's Steve McCatty to the mound again.
Yeah, they're going to try to get some innings out of Blake Trine, and like I said, a AAA starter. He's stretched out to 100 pitches. It's not just a typical reliever to where you can get some innings out of him, but I'm sure Steve McCatty going to tell him, you're doing a good job, but these guys will hit a fastball, mixing a changeup, a slider, keep them honest right now, because they're definitely on number 1. No matter how hard you throw or how much movement you have, it's always best to keep a big league hitter honest with some other pitches to get in his head.
Colton Wong is 1 for 4 with a very damaging first inning spinning base hit down the first baseline. Ball 1. Want to pitch up. It's up the middle. And now it's 8-0.
Just a perfectly placed ground ball right back up the middle. Blake Trinan probably had the best shot at that, but he just fell off the mound a little bit toward the first base side. And the 12th hit of the night for the St. Louis Cardinals.
And again, Wainwright at third base. They're not going to be sending him. They have out-hit the Nats 12-1. First at bat for Shane Robinson, who came in for Matt Holliday last inning for defense. Robinson, a 29-year-old outfielder from Tampa, fifth rounder by St. Louis back in '06. He went to the same high school, Tampa Jesuit, as major leaguers Lou Piniella, Dave Magadan. Brad Radke went there. Jason Michaels, who was in camp with the Nats a couple of years ago.
You see that ratio right there? I mean, he's got a good slider. And once he establishes that as a strike and gets confidence in that pitch, as you see it right there on cue, now you get guys off your fastball. You throw 98 with sink. You know, as a hitter, if you take the whole mystery out of the equation for me, I'm going to figure it out. But now if you have a little doubt in my head, like, hey, I go back to the dugout and say, you got a nasty slider to go with that nasty sinker. It's a different story. Great pitch right there. And another one.
Gets a called strike on that. Another run for the Cardinals in the top of the seventh. It's the Hyundai seventh inning stretch at Nationals Park. Mr. Lincoln's Memorial.
And it's Miller time, brought to you by a warm Miller Lite. On a cold night, why not?
Not a bad idea.
Well, this is what separates Adam Wainwright from a no-hitter at this point. A chopper off the plate by Ian Desmond. That's been the only hit of the night for the Nats. And Wainwright's, with an early 3-0 lead in the first inning, has been on cruise control, free and easy, and pounding the strike zone with everything he's got.
Yeah, remember that Ryan Zimmerman base hit in St. Louis last year? Little chopper off the glove of Michael Wacha kept him from a no-hitter in a 2-0 St. Louis win back on September 24th. Go deep inside the numbers, and Adam Wainwright overall now going with the fastball 2/3 of the time. He has stopped the Nats on 74 pitches, 48 strikes. LaRoche, Desmond, Espinosa, bottom of the seventh. And you got LaRoche skipping away from the pitch that turned out to be a strike.
First pitch sinker going one way. Second pitch cutter going the other way. Both for strikes. And this is where the great ones start to smell the finish line, and they're thinking one thing: shutout.
He's had 6 career shutouts, 16 complete games. A lot by today's standards. It was quite a deal that Walt Jocketty pulled off when he got a young kid named Adam Wainwright from Atlanta with 2 other players in exchange, and Ray King was one of those, former Nat, for J.D. Drew and a catcher, Eli Marrero. I think Jason Marquis was the other guy. Wainwright, King, and Marquis for J.D. Drew, and a part-time player.
Saw Jason Marquis in New York playing the Mets. He was in the lobby of the hotel. It was nice to see him, visiting some old teammates. He was a good Nat.
2-2 to LaRoche. Strike 3. Strikeout number 7. And Adam Wainwright is putting on a clinic tonight about moving the ball around.
Yeah, cutter on the inner half. 88. And it's hard to think along with guys like Adam Wainwright. You never know what he's going to throw, when he's going to throw it, or where he's going to throw it. And he's had the Nats off balance all night. I say this all the time when the Nats play the Cardinals. You hear me from time to time call pitches based on sequences, the way guys are setting up. I can't think with Yadier Molina. I said that on the air last year.
You did.
There's no rhyme or reason to what he throws and what count. I mean, you could think along with most catchers. Well, he threw that inside to go outside, or he threw this soft to go hard. With Molina, I sit up here and I'm baffled half the time on the pitch that he calls. And if I'm baffled up here, you can imagine what guys down there in the box are thinking.
Desmond up the middle. Peralta throws him out. 2 down.
And the reason I say that is because, it's easy for me up here, and I've talked about it before, to think about what pitch is coming. I don't have, the adrenaline or the thought processes as I used to as a hitter in the batter's box. So to sit up here and be relaxed and look on TV, it's very easy to figure out what the pattern is and how guys are pitching you. In the heat of battle when you're down there, it's not that easy to think along with guys, but guys try to do that. But with Yadier Molina, it reminds me a lot of facing Greg Maddux and the Braves. You could never think along with that guy. You think one pitch is coming, and it has to be coming based on what he threw you the time before, the pitch before. It never is.
Espinosa to the right side. Adams to Wainwright. And Adam Wainwright is now through 7 with a huge lead on the road. 8-0, first game of the 4-game set.
You go to the top of the 8th inning. Matt Adams 1 for 4, 3 RBIs. Matt Holliday having a big game. Adam Wainwright having a big game. But just like we put together packages and show all the Gold Glove web gem plays, I think this is the story of the night. So let the pitchers tell the story. The defense has been an issue here early in the season. And tonight, the Nats have played like a team that got home at 3 in the morning last night from Miami. There's no other way to put it.
St. Louis will get Matt Adams out of the game, and their backup catcher, Tony Cruz, will have an AB here, leading off the top of the 8th. Reminds you of the old Maytag repairman commercials. Loneliest guy in town. The backup catcher to Yadier Molina. He's had 2 hits and 4 at-bats this year. Cruz, 27 years of age, from Palm Beach. In fact, he lives in Lake Worth, where it's been rumored there's been discussion about a new spring training home for someone in that area. He was originally drafted by the Dodgers, went to Palm Beach Community College instead. St. Louis took him in the 26th round in 07. 802nd player drafted. Got a play to the right side. One ball, 2 strikes. Trying running that fastball in on his hands. Espinosa waiting for it. And taking care of that for the first out. Potomac Nationals. They are the defending champion in the Northern Division of the Carolina League, back in Woodbridge, April 23rd through the 29th. Highlighting the upcoming homestand. Bryce Harper t-shirt night, team posters, pups in the park, and fireworks. Future Nats all summer long down at High A Ball in Woodbridge. 703-590-2311 for ticket information.
Well, I want to know when they have a Bob Carpenter bomber jacket night, because I will be the first one in line for that.
There is no minor league team in America who can afford to give away bomber jackets.
Tomorrow night, bring your members only jacket. Oh, goodness.
I mean, I just picked the first thing I could see out of the closet today.
It.
Had no idea I was making a statement.
I like it.
You're making fun of me.
No, well, hey, you remembered a jacket. I didn't. I had to borrow Kevin Franzen's.
Yeah, you have been known to go to the clubhouse and pilfer on cold nights.
I mean, how do you not remember to bring a jacket on a night like this?
You're from Sacramento. That pitch up, 95 for a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He brought his Marlins jacket, or she did.
Wow. Should be doubling as a traffic cop after this one. And Jason Worth misses the ball. Had to lose it in the lights. This is unbelievable. Yadier Molina to second base with 1 out.
Kind of sums it up, folks. Jason Worth, one of the best defenders as a right fielder in all of baseball, had to lose this one in the bank of lights right over the third base dugout. Coming in, I got it. I can't see it. And it's just been one of those nights. That's a helpless feeling. Been there, done that.
I'd give him a double if I was scoring it.
No, he didn't.
Then they gave him an error. 2-base error.
Well, I say get it all out of your system tonight.
So the Nats have made 20 errors in 16 games this year. Here's Alan Craig, 0 for 4. That ball hitting on the plate. And nothing Rendon can do. That's a base hit.
We just know as an infielder that ball's probably not going to come up, but it's a do-or-die play. All the spin created off the plate. It's going to check up like a wedge shot on the green. That's exactly what happened to Rendon.
Don't want to have to use too many pitchers in the opener of a 4-game series when the series gets off to a start like this. But now the Nats warming up Blevins.
Should I drop my Yogi line?
It ain't over till.
No, the best thing about today is that tomorrow's over.
Well, I did hear that there was a good reason why Yogi once said, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. It's because the road he lived on was circular. You could go either way to his house. So evidently there was a good reason for him saying that, because you could take either way and get to the Berra household. But some of the other things just don't make sense. And Johnny Peralta's the hitter, 2 for 4. And the 1-0 pitch. Trining's getting the calls from Bill Miller on that high fastball.
Strike zone will expand in an 8-0 game late.
He threw 40 pitches in the first inning and 2/3 after taking over for Taylor Jordan in the 6th. Yeah, but here you are, 16 games into the season. And FP, you and I discussed this recently on the heels of the Ramos injury and then the Zimmerman injury. And now the Doug Fister situation, unavailable to the Nats for the first part of the season. There's a ground ball to the right side. LaRoche coming home for a 3-2 putout. Spinning and turning and getting the runner. You know, but Doug Fister has not been available to the Nats. And now that you're in the 3rd or 4th time around the rotation, you find out how much you might be missing a veteran guy.
Well, obviously. I mean, Doug Fister is the big offseason acquisition, and you see the heads-up play by Adam LaRoche. He's seen enough. No more runs.
John Jay, the hitter. And that fastball on the inside corner at 95. This will be the last inning for Treinen, due to bat 3rd in the bottom of the 8th. He's nearing 60 pitches, working in his 3rd inning. Text count to 29292 for your chance to win a meet and greet with Gio Gonzalez. Find your American Standard dealer at www.midatlanticcomfort.com. It's all presented by American Standard. Count. And a ball down the left field line. Bryce Harper over to get it. St. Louis doesn't score for the first time in a while. Going bottom 8, 8-0 Cards. Brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. Well, on deck for the Nats here in the 8th, McLeod, Lobatone. And we'll see where it goes from there. Every time a Nat draws a walk this year, and tonight, 2, 1 intentional. It's $50 to support Girls on the Run DC from Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield. So for the year, 52 walks, over $2,500. And they encourage each of us, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield, to take that first step toward a healthier and more active lifestyle. Tony Cruz stays into play first. And the hitter is Nate McLeod, bottom 8. And McLeod got to play left side. Nate has grounded out and flied out. He's pulled the ball twice, and that's a breaking ball inside. 1-1. Gio going to try to turn things around tomorrow night. Look at that. Wainwright just over half the number of pitches thrown by Taylor Jordan and Blake Trinan. One and 2 to McLeod. May find it harder to believe, but if the Nats don't come back and win this game tonight, they will be 1/2 game ahead of the New York Mets, who've won 3 in a row and are now 8-7. Phillies beat the Braves today. They're 7-8. That's a breaking ball that just misses. So Atlanta 10-5. They got their 5-game winning streak broken today.
I start looking at the standings around the All-Star break, maybe a little sooner. June-ish, I guess.
And straight back it goes. When the Nats hit a home run this year, it's $250 to the Children's National Medical Center. And that's thanks to the generosity of our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers. And a 2-hopper down to Cruz, who just came in. Ball found him, 1 out.
I'll tell you what, as an offense, you take pride in not letting a guy get to the finish line. I know it doesn't look good for the Nats right now, but, you know, they get a run. I guess it's a small victory on a night where not a whole lot went your way. That was a ball club. I never wanted a guy standing out there for the last out that started the game.
Jose Lobatone walked intentionally back in the second. Here we are in the 8th inning. And the Nats' number 8 hitter finally gets his 3rd plate appearance of the night. Wainwright's at 91 pitches. He'd gone 7 in each of his first 3 starts this year, averaging 5 hits and 2 runs per outing. Yeah, it's a Tapper foul.
I mean, the only thing that made my day today is there's a huge story that's trending right now about Mr. Met and how he got a little too close to President Clinton, and one of the Secret Service guys said, "We'll take you out." And they said they were serious. You get close to the president, we'll put one right between your eyes.
This story just now surfacing.
Yes,
after all these years.
Yeah, one of the former Mr. Mets apparently wrote a book and said that I guess somewhere in the 90s, the president was at a game at Shea Stadium, and he got a little too close to the president, and they said, approach the president, we go for the kill shot. Are we clear? And I tweeted today that I thought Mr. Met should try to get close to any president anyway.
Here's Steven Souza Jr. 1 for 4 is a big league hitter. Got his first knock in Florida. A laser up the middle.
And people are tweeting me Mr. and Mrs. Met with kids.
This now just coming out.
I mean, yeah. I guess former Met mascot A.J. Mass wrote a book about it.
Is he the first mascot to write a book? I mean,
yeah,
with Philly Fanatic would have a heck of a story to tell.
He only has 4 fingers, so it must have took a long time. I don't know how he held the pen. But he said he recounted an April day when a federal agent threatened to put a bullet in the stitches of his baseball-shaped dome. It was April 15th, 1997.
He was just trying to get in the picture, right? Behind the president? Wow.
They said, we have snipers all around the stadium just in case something were to happen. And like I said, do whatever you normally do, but approach the president and we go for the kill shot. Are we clear?
He probably nodded that big baseball at that time.
I would have egged him on.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
The president wants to talk to you, Mr. Met. He would like to see you right now, close. He wants to tell you a secret in your ear.
Look like a backup slider up and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Let's see what other breaking news of recent events we can dig up before the evening's over.
It's my 8-0 material, partner.
Wow. I got nothing. Adam Wainwright's got plenty, though. That's a big curveball that Souza laid off. Nice job. And he works the count to 3-2. Fastball away. Missed with it. And the Nats have their first base runner since the 2nd inning.
Fans, you can follow every Nationals game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, score, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download at the App Store. Visit Nationals.com right now.
Wainwright had retired 18 in a row until that walk. Top of the order, Anthony Rendon, who's 0 for 3. And a fastball for a strike. Out to the shortstop, Peralta, to a knee, and to second. The Nats are gone in the 8th. They've stranded 4 base runners tonight into the 9th inning. Milwaukee is 2-0 with a 1.89 ERA. Career, he's 6-1. Nearly no-hit the Nats in St. Louis last September. Gio's got to put a stop to what's happening tonight and take it right into tomorrow night. He's 1-1 career against the Cardinals. 2-1, 3.50 ERA for the Nats lefty. Johnny and Ray from the ballpark at 6:30. FP&I from the booth at 7. First pitch, 7:05. Toyota case for kids. Gio Gonzalez has contributed plenty to that this year. 17 strikeouts so far. DC area Toyota dealers helping children and their families. Every time there's a strikeout, $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH. Jerry Blevins on the inside corner. Wainwright, the leadoff hitter, and having a fantastic night on the mound. 101 pitches, 67 strikes. He's taken the excitement of a ball club returning home for an 11-game homestand off a really nice win on the road last night and just taking all the air out of the ballpark. $28,000, by the way, 987 the paid attendance tonight. Right under the Nats average of 29,798 coming in. 8th in the league in average attendance so far. Dan Blevins with that big curveball, and Adam Wainwright hits one to the wall in left field. He has a 2-hit night with a walk and a sacrifice, and is the early favorite for the Silver Slugger.
Well, definitely the MVP of tonight's game, without a doubt. I mean, based on just what he's done on the mound, just one hit to this point, and then he comes to the plate and drives a ball off Jerry Blevins over the head of Bryce Harper in left field. So we told you about it earlier in the game. He wants to win a Silver Slugger, taking pride in his offense, and you can see the results.
Cardinals out hitting the Nats now 14-1. And within a couple of inches in the dirt on a swing by Ian Desmond of making a no-hit bid here tonight. That's outside to Matt Carpenter. Carpenter 2 hits, a walk, 2 runs scored.
Does he have a bomber jacket?
I don't know, but he had 55 doubles last year. Led the league. He led the league in runs, hits, doubles last year. Hit .318. He had 8 hits in the World Series. And they moved him over to third base with David Freese departed for Anaheim. Big breaking ball by Blevins, a beauty. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
A pretty good breaking ball right here. Might be facing Carpenter in a bigger situation this weekend.
Went with a fastball, just missing the outside corner.
Boy, if he hit the spot, he had him. You just tell by the way Carpenter took that, he was thinking curveball again. No gloves, old school, cold night. Sometimes guys that don't use gloves even go to gloves on a night like tonight, not Carpenter.
Breaking ball, not missing by much. So he was ahead 1-2. Just missing the last two. Here's pitch number 6. And Blevins got in on his hands. This one tailing back to Bryce Harper. Wainwright stays at second base, 1 out. That'll bring in Colton Wong. By the way, Matt Carpenter had batted against Blevins before. Now 0 for 2 career. I think St. Louis did play Oakland in interleague last year or two. The Nats will play the A's out in the Bay Area this year, first time ever. Colton Wong.
Beautiful ballpark, Carp. Wait to see it.
I've been there many times, but you know what? It's been like 10 years, and
gorgeous.
I've really missed it.
It's gorgeous. Reminds me of
what do they call that thing? Mount Davis out in center field. They build the gigantic concrete triple-deck grandstand for the Raiders.
Pro player Joe Robbie, Land Shark Field, whatever that was. Same thing.
I know it was Network Associates Coliseum for a while.
They have loyal fans, though, I'll tell you what.
They do. Oakland Alameda County Coliseum for a long time. Used to be open out there in the outfield, costing sluggers numerous home runs in night games.
Still that way. Ball doesn't fly at night, during the day. A little more generous.
So if you want to see one of the great ballparks in America,
come out to Oakland.
Meet the Nats in Oakland May 9th, 10th, and 11th. I was kind of hoping we'd play the Giants right after that, just stay out there for a whole week, but from there to Arizona, Giants later. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Blevins staying with that breaking ball against the lefty Colton Wong. A 23-year-old infielder from Hilo, Hawaii. He was an All-American at the University of Hawaii in Honolulu and a 3-time All-WAC baseball player. It's a pretty good baseball league. 2-2 pitch. And a breaking ball. Similar result as the one on Carpenter a moment ago. McLeod will go over to the gap and grab this one for the second out. It'll bring in Shane Robinson again. Well, obviously a disappointing start to this series unless the Nats can pull a miracle out of their dugout in the bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be Harper, Worth, and LaRoche. And if the Nats don't come from behind in this one, they will have lost 5 of their last 7, coming off a 2-4 road trip.
Good change up by Blevins. Tell you what, Jerry Blevins takes the ball and pitches the exact same, whether it's a tie game, up by 1, down by 8. Just a professional pitcher, focused, doing his thing. He knows all about the Coliseum.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever it's called now. For me, it'll always be the Oakland Coliseum.
Mark. Hey. Are you warming up there? Sure. I can get you a heater, probably.
Robinson struck out looking last time against Blake Trinan. And he'll take that one low and away, 2-1.
It won't get any easier tomorrow for the Nats with Walker on the mound, but I guarantee you see a better effort. And it's not that the effort wasn't there. You'll see, a ball club that's a little more focused, a little more on top of their game. And tonight, from the very first hitter of the game, Matt Williams' ball club was up against it.
Two-two pitch. Adam Wainwright's been at second base on his feet for a long time in this inning. Carpenter flew out, so did Colton Wong. And now 3-2 on Shane Robinson. Changeup, walked it. And now Blevins will face Tony Cruz.
And I think to Dan's report about 5 hours ago when he said that Matt Williams doesn't want to address the whole defense thing and make a bigger deal about it. I've been on teams where you've had trouble picking up runners on third with less than 2 outs. You have those hitters meetings. You say, guys, come on. We got to do a better job of picking up runners from third base with less than 2 outs. And inevitably what you see is a team go out there, start swinging at everything, and they get actually worse at picking up those runs that they're supposed to. So I know what Matt was saying earlier to Dan as far as, hey, it'll take care of itself. We'll just keep getting our work done. We'll make the plays. I know these guys are good defenders, and for whatever reason it isn't just happening right now. But if you start to make it a bigger deal verbally with meetings and, hey, come on, we really got to pick it up. You guys got to start making plays. I mean, this is the big leagues. Then it becomes a huge deal, and it gets in your head. And inevitably you go the other way. So I think it's a smart move by Matty saying, hey, it'll take care of itself. He's smart. He knows. One of the best defenders, in my mind, to ever play third base. Getting to watch him growing up. So he just knows. And I think he's handling this thing the right way. Just work your butt off. Keep doing what you do. And it'll all take care of itself.
Yeah.
And I feel like this homestand's a great opportunity for the Nationals to get into some kind of routine, get into a groove, settle into the season. You're home for 11 games, and yeah, the competition's tough, but now you can unpack a little bit, getting those various superstitious routines, whether it's the way you drive to the ballpark or what you wear or how you wear a uniform, whatever it is. Now you're settling into the season. It's not opening day, day game, night game, day game, night game, and you're kind of all over the map. This is the part of the season where you start to really settle down, get into your routine, and if anybody knows anything about baseball, players love to have a routine. Something that you can just settle into on a daily basis to where you don't really have to think about anything. You just put it on autopilot, and they really haven't had an opportunity yet this year to put it on autopilot. And if you look at the records throughout baseball, it kind of reflects that. No team really doing that great running away with anything because teams are still feeling themselves out and trying to get into that groove.
Cold weather, a lot of injuries around baseball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Not like football where you can just kind of go out and smack somebody and then you're back into it. Baseball, everything's so much more subtle. Little move here and there. One pitch here or there. One touch of the ball, one play. And a 2-2 to Cruz. Then Jerry Blevins going off speed on the right-handed batter again. Three-2 again with the runners moving. Bases loaded.
It's a decision time for Matt Williams because he may need Jerry Blevins tomorrow night in a big situation to get out a Matt Adams or a John Jay or somebody like that. So, while he needs his lefty to finish this thing up and get that third out, you don't want to stretch him out too far. And then there's a fine line to get to somebody else up in the bullpen. So, tricky situation with Blevins at 30 pitches.
Yeah. Matt LeCroy walked over to the bullpen phone, but it did not ring. And the bases are loaded with 2 outs, and Molina goes up swinging. And a fastball just missed up and in.
Pretty good pitch. Tried to rush him on the inner half. And the pitch track says it was in.
That's on the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a 1-2 pitch. Runners stay. That's the pitcher down at third base, Adam Wainwright. Probably standing out there for the last 15 minutes, not going anywhere. As mentioned earlier, Molina, tough guy to strike out.
What you see, and he's not giving away any at-bats, still grinding even an 8-0 game because he knows there's RBIs out there.
He had 505 at-bats last year, struck out 55 times while driving in 80 runs. He got jammed on that one. Adam LaRoche calls it. St. Louis will strand 15 runners tonight. And this ball game goes to the bottom of the ninth. Harper, Worth, LaRoche ahead.
Ugly numbers you're looking at. The Nationals with an 8-0 hole they try to climb out of. Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight. We hope you'll stick around with us for our next extra postgame coming up and what we hope will be a long time from now. But this has been one of those nights where the ball was not winding up when the Nationals wanted the ball to wind up. Too many errors in this game.
Yeah, Johnny, one thing that should be constant is defense. It's about effort. Tonight, it's not a lack of effort, but the ball is bouncing everywhere, throwing the ball all over the yard, not making plays, and I think we're last in errors right now in the National League. And but we got off to the same type of start last year. But there's no reason to play this way when you're this good. Certainly, at every position, there are guys out there that are more than capable of making plays. But this is the way baseball goes, those hills and valleys, and you're seeing them early in cold weather.
And we will try to make some sense of this when we come back, after which we hope will be a long ninth inning. We know that Bob and FP upstairs can do some work here in the bottom of the ninth.
Oh, you're so wrong, Johnny.
Nice try, John. We'll just call him and stay with whatever happens. But, you know, Ray brings up a great point. And I remember the first manager I ever had a chance to walk into his office as a Major League broadcaster, and that was Whitey Herzog. A great manager, won World Series, Hall of Fame guy. He had a quote, almost verbatim what Ray just said. He said, "I can wait for offense every night. I can't wait for defense. It's got to be there all the time."
It does, and I agree with everything Ray said. Plus, I think it's concentration. Defense is expecting the ball to be hit to you every single play from the first pitch of the game to the last, and that's where the concentration factor comes in. It took me till I was about 27, 28 years old to learn how to do that.
Bryce Harper launches one to lead off the bottom of the ninth. Ball not going to carry very far on a cold night like this, and Robinson puts it away.
And it takes a lot of mental effort as a defender to say, the ball's coming to me, the ball's coming to me. The pitch goes in the strike zone, it doesn't. Kind of let your mind wander for a couple of seconds and then get back into it. Ball's coming to me, here it comes, here it comes. To do that for 140, 150 pitches, whatever, on a given night, it takes a lot of mental focus.
Nationals, by the way, have not, to this point, been shut out this year. Worth and LaRoche now, the next two.
And if you're thinking about your last at bat or maybe something that happened off the field, you don't have that focus. And then all of a sudden, if you're thinking about offense on defense, the ball's hit to you and you're surprised and you're not ready for it. But if you can separate the two sides of the game, lumber and leather, and the great ones, when they're struggling offensively, their theory is, if I ain't hitting, you ain't hitting. I'm stealing everything I can on defense. It's just, it's an attitude. And it's concentration, it's focus, and relaxation.
Worth hits that ball. That might be the hardest hit ball of the night. Right at Robinson. 2 outs. Masson 2 tomorrow night. Into the big three we go with Gio, followed by Zimmerman and Strasburg. And for St. Louis tomorrow night, Michael Wacha, who's 2-0 with a 1.89 ERA. Adam LaRoche, 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. And Adam Wainwright, 1 out away from his 17th career complete game and his 7th shutout. Breaking ball, base hit through the shift. Only the second Washington hit tonight.
Yeah, nice job beating the shift right here. Ball off the barrel. All the at-bats count. And Adam LaRoche, the second hard hit ball in a row off Adam Wainwright.
Wainwright's at 107 pitches with 2 outs here in the ninth. Ian Desmond 1 for 3 with that chopper off the plate back in the second inning.
Ian Desmond trying to make it a 2-hit night for himself.
There's that big curveball. He gets that thing called for a strike. What's a hitter to do? And it's over.
Adam Wainwright, the thing you're supposed to do, and nothing to do for the Nationals except for turn the page and get them tomorrow. Sleep fast, get some sleep, and be a different ball club against Wacha tomorrow.
Adam Wainwright strikes out 8 on the night, shuts out the Nats on 2 hits. Took a while, 3 hours and 10 minutes. and the Nats will give it a try tomorrow night. For FP and Dan, Bob Carpenter. Tomorrow evening, Gio Gonzalez and Michael Waka. This has been a presentation of Asset. Stay tuned. Johnny and Ray from the ballpark and from the booth. So long for just a while.